From the News Channel 5 Network, this is SportsLine.
Hey there, SportsLine on your television. Steve Laban here with you. Glad you are here with us on this Tuesday night on News Channel 5 Plus. Believe it or not, we are 10 days away from Titans players reporting to St. Thomas Sports Bank for the start of training camp next week. The first practice will be a week from Saturday in the afternoon. That'll be open to the public. Your chance to get out and see your Tennessee Titans this year. Of course, coming off a 3-13 season, but there is a level of optimism about this season because of the new general manager and the moves that John Robinson made to bring in so many people. DeMarco Murray in the trade, the draft of Jack Conklin and Kevin Dodd and Derrick Henry, and on down the list. Even some guys like Tajay Sharp, who got a ton of pub really from within the team because of his performance during the offseason program. He was just a fifth-round draft pick. But all of those guys come in and add to what this Titans team was a year ago. Marcus Mariota is back for year 2 after a rookie season in which he set franchise rookie records for completions and passing yards and passing touchdowns. And he scored running, throwing, and even receiving on the end of a touchdown pass last year. So there are reasons to be excited. Mike Mularkey is now the full-time head coach. I'm not sure if that is one of them for a lot of Titans fans, but he certainly has won over this locker room and seems to be a changed guy from the dictator that he was complained to have been when he was in Buffalo or in Jacksonville for the one season. He seems to have a little bit different approach the third time around, so perhaps the third time can be the charm for Mike Mularkey as a head coach in the NFL. But there's just a different momentum about this team this year, and every year guys say that, but it does seem like there is some reason to back it up when you talk about the Titans. Now, what does that mean? I think the Titans will be much better in 2016, but what is much better when you're coming from 3-13? Much better could get you to 5 wins and still nowhere near the playoffs. Would that be good enough for you as a Titans fan, as you start to think about this 2016 season? What's good enough? What do you want to see and consider as progress this season? Is this team good enough to take the giant leap and compete in the division or battle for a playoff spot in the AFC? Or is a small step forward and maybe doubling that win total and getting to 5 or 6 wins this season good enough to feel positive about the direction this franchise is headed now? Those are questions that we can tackle over the next really month as we get set to go. I think it's 54 days to now. I saw that the team tweeted out today a picture with Avery Williamson's jersey on it, and that's their countdown to the regular season opener, September 11th at Nissan Stadium. But just 10 days away from the guys coming back and getting ready for training camp, which is the official start of football season, if you ask me. That's when you really start to talk about what teams have, what a team's going to look like, and what you can expect in the fall. As Taylor Lewan said very well, I think, at the end of minicamp, he said, look, we've had a good offseason program here, but guys are basically just running around in their underwear right now. You don't really know until you have to put on the pads, until there's some contact. That's when we'll start to figure out a little bit more about this Titans team. So we'll get to that coming up. Over the course of the show tonight, we'll hear from a pair of rookies that could have major impacts on what this team looks like. Derrick Henry, last year's Heisman Trophy winner, is going to fit into the backfield puzzle, certainly. He's going to get some handoffs from 2 years ago's Heisman Trophy winner, Marcus Mariota, going to share reps with DeMarco Murray back there. And we'll see if the Titans can have a serious ground attack this year. That has been such a struggle behind this makeshift offensive line the last few years. I'm not convinced Ken Wisenhunt was terribly dedicated to the running game in his time here in Nashville. Can they create the running game again? Can they make that running game mean something and take some of the pressure off of Mariota in the passing game? We'll find out. Derrick Henry is going to be a big part of that. We'll hear my chat with him coming up during the course of this show. Also, John sat down with Kevin Byard, former Middle Tennessee star, drafted in the 3rd round by the Titans. He's actually the 5th player selected by the team, despite being a 3rd-round draft pick. But he could have a big impact. I don't know if the expectation is that he can start right away in this secondary, but he's going to be a starter at some point. They expect him to be a guy that they can count on to make tackles and make plays, to come up with the ball when it's up for grabs downfield. And that's what he did so well in Middle Tennessee. Now, Denoris Searcy is back there. He's in his 2nd year with the Titans now, and they brought in Rashad Johnson from Arizona, who's a veteran, who's had success in this league. He's been a ball hawk himself. I think those 2 guys are probably going to be the starters on week 1, but we'll see how quickly Kevin Byard can come along. And certainly I think he's going to be an impact player on special teams, and he's going to see the field. And they're going to figure out what he can do. And before long, I expect he's going to be a guy that is a starter in the National Football League. We'll hear from him coming up tonight as well. Also, some more college football talk. Rick Stockstill, Kevin Byard's old coach, was in studio last week, and we had him as part of Sunday Sports Central. We'll hear from him coming up in the show tonight, maybe revisit some OVC Media Day talk as well. And as always, we'd love to hear from you tonight. 737-7767 is the number. We've got phone lines open for you. Chime in on this discussion. We can talk plenty of football tonight. We're in sort of the dog days of summer. Baseball is sort of the big thing going on in the world of sports right now. But we're inching closer to football season. And here in Middle Tennessee, where there is no Major League Baseball team, creeping closer, however long it takes, to football season is always a positive thing. To get the Titans back out there, and at this time of year, everybody's 0-0. Have that excitement again about a new, fresh start and a new season for them is always fun. And obviously, when you talk college football, there are massive expectations for Tennessee this year. And for the first time since I've been here covering Tennessee, which spans back to 2011 or the end of the 2010 season, for the first time, I think the hype around Tennessee football this year is justified. I think they are a top 10 team. I think they could compete for a national championship this year. Not just the SEC East Division title, where they are the favorites, and deservedly so. But I think they've got a chance to beat whoever comes out of the West, get into the college football playoff, and if they do that, they certainly have a chance to bring home the trophy at the end in Tampa. I think this year Tennessee can live up to all the hype. Now, will they do it? I don't know. There's obviously several other good teams out there, and the SEC West is loaded with them. Can they beat Alabama? We'll find out. Can they win an SEC championship game against an Alabama or an LSU? We'll find out. But here's what Tennessee has. Tennessee has a ton of talent. They have an offensive line that should be great. They should be good in the trenches on both sides of the ball. And when you looked at them at their best last year, they could line it up and run it at anybody. They ran it at Alabama. And that incredible front seven that the Crimson Tide had, Tennessee ran it right at them in Bryant-Denny Stadium. I think they can do that again. And you've got Jalen Hurd and Alvin Kamara back there. Those are 2 guys who are pros, and they're going to get a bunch of carries. You've got a defense that at each level has leaders. Derek Barnett, Jalen Reeves-Maybin, Cameron Sutton. You've got NFL players there that can make plays, and now you've got Bob Shoop calling the defense. I think they're going to be really, really good. Scary to some people. The big question for me about Tennessee is Joshua Dobbs ready? He's a great kid. Obviously, much has been made about the aerospace engineering and all that stuff that he does away from the football field. He's a bright kid. He's a great athlete. But for Tennessee to take the next step, they need him to be an elite quarterback. They need him to be able to stand in the pocket and dissect some of these SEC defenses. Up till now, he has been a dual threat quarterback that largely has been the bigger fear for defenses when he takes off. And occasionally, he beats you with his arm. If he can take it to the next level this year and become a true quarterback that beats you with the arm first and then gives you that secondary threat, the dual threat of being the runner as well, I think Tennessee can take it to the next level. And I think they truly can contend in the SEC and for the national championship. I thought last year when all the hype was there and people were talking 10-win season and can Tennessee win the SEC East, I thought the potential was there. But I also thought they were young. They hadn't quite figured out what they needed to do to win really tight games, to get over that hump. I think they've figured it out now. That run at the end of the season, the way they dismantled a physically sound Northwestern team, not a great or not a flashy team, but a good and physically sound Northwestern team in the Outback Bowl. The way they did that was impressive. And now all these guys have had an offseason, and they're all coming back for another year. That, to me, is why Tennessee now can live up to the hype. They've learned how to win. They've learned how to deal with the expectations after going through it last year. They've had some adversity, blowing the leads that they blew last year. I think this is a team now that knows how to finish. And when they get up on somebody, I think this year they're going to step on the throat of opponents. And that, to me, is why Tennessee, I think, belongs in the discussion this year for SEC and national championship conversations. In the past, they weren't quite ready. They hadn't learned how to win, learned how to finish, get over the hump. Now I think they have. Curious on your thoughts on that as well tonight. 737-7767 is the number. We want to hear from you tonight on the Titans. What are you excited about with them coming back to training camp next week? We talked about the rookies. We'll hear from Derrick Henry and Kevin Byard. Which rookie do you think will have the biggest impact this season for the Titans? And the Tennessee Vols. Lots of expectations. I think they can live up to them this year. What do you say? Call us up tonight. Join the program, 737-7767. This is SportsLine on News Channel 5+.